guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled Meet the Gen Zers Skipping College to Take Blue Collar Jobs and Launch Trade Businesses. And guys, this is a great article as once again showing that the college industrial complex, as a lot of people call it, is really taking a hit. And this one shows more and more young people are waking up to realize, you know what, I'm not going to go spend all that money on some worthless piece of paper that's not going to give me a return on my investment for my time and money. And as many have noticed, a lot of colleges are taking a hit because less people are going. And that'll be a great one to go over here to show the young people out there you have other choices. And I've been saying this for a long time. It's just simply not worth it to go to college and spend an amazing amount of money and pay interest on that and be paying that for decades for something that's not going to give you a return on your investment. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for educating yourself, bettering yourself, learning things, always learning. And if you can major in something that will definitely pay a return, then by all means do it. But do everything possible to save money where you can. And these young people are going in a different route, and that's great. Because we all know that the college industrial complex is ripping off the public for decades. And they know it, and we all fucking know it here. But a lot of young people get bad advice and think that's the only option they have. But also egos come into play because their parents don't want them to have a blue-collar job or something like that. Guess what? People with blue-collar jobs can make darn good money, very good money, especially if they take those skills later in life and start their own businesses. I mean, I'm in here in South Florida. Guess what? There is a never-ending demand for air conditioning, servicemen, HVAC, repairs, you name it. It's hot as hell down here 10 months of the year where I live. So guess what? You will pay anything to have your air conditioning repaired if it conks out, especially in the summertime. Not to mention demand for plumbers and plenty of other things are necessary. So anyhow, that'll be a good one to go over here because I love to hear articles and read articles when the college industrial complex is taking a hit. Oh, and by the way, don't get me wrong, I'm all for accountability. People who went to college, major in some BS degree, and paid a lot of money for it and are whining, complaining, they brought that on themselves. Let's be honest here, but the colleges, they know that it's a bunch of bullshit. So anyhow, this is a good one. It says here, the cost of college education, long touted as a requirement for filling high-paying jobs, has soared over the last couple of decades, stoking skepticism among Gen Z about the true value of a four-year degree. Exactly. As the youngest generation in the workforce debates the merits of college education, more 20-somethings are gravitating to blue-collar careers. Salary increases and new technologies and fields from welding to manufacturing are helping blue-collar jobs shed the image of being dirty, menial work as a shortage of skilled tradespeople brought on as older workers retire creates opportunities for young adults. Well, there's opportunity, guys. You have to go for it. There's nothing wrong with doing what is labeled as blue-collar work. And if women don't like that, tough shit. They can go with the guys that are overloaded with gigantic college loans and are making probably less than some of these blue-collar guys. Skilled trade professions, including electricians, plumbers, and mechanics, are seeing a gradual uptick in the number of workers between the ages of 18 and 25 joining these fields, according to Augusto data exclusively shared with CNBC Make It. Yeah, I saw this morning when I was checking out where the market was opening. This is from CNBC. The security and prospect of steadily growing earnings offered by these jobs make them even more attractive to Gen Zers who are starting their careers facing a much tougher job market than in recent years. Many Gen Zers are finding fulfillment, stability, and in many cases financial security by getting into skilled trades. Now, this is going to break down to different examples, different young people who have found success. And the first one, this is buying her first home at 24. When Chris Moreland was 16, she signed up for an auto shop class at her high school in Phoenix, Arizona, thinking it'd be fun, elective. Not the start to a career that 10 years later would help her buy her first home and achieve financial freedom. 27, she says she instantly fell in love with working under the hood of different cars and the challenge of troubleshooting a new problem every day. Once Moreland, I can't pronounce her freaking name, her last name here, graduated high school, she decided to skip college and pursue a full-time career as an automotive technician. She says, I didn't want to spend another 4 years sitting behind a desk learning. I knew I wanted to work with cars and I didn't need a bachelor's degree to do it. She enrolled in a one-year vocational school program at the Universal Technical Institute of Avondale, Arizona, where she received an Associate's Occupational Studies degree in Automotive Technologies. The associate degree program, which costs about $33,000, okay, that ain't cheap, but compared to, 4-year programs nowadays, that's obviously cheaper. Taught her how to diagnose car issues, assemble and disassemble engines, and repair brake systems, among other skills. She was awarded a $15,000 scholarship to attend the program, so she spent about $18,000 to become a certified technician, less than a third of the average cost of getting a bachelor's degree in the U.S. Okay, so she was smart. She got herself a scholarship. She obviously did well. That reduced the price almost by half. That's fantastic. You find a way, guys. She graduated in 2017 and immediately landed a job as a service assistant at Tesla. Hey, there you go. Which recruited students on campus. Within a year, she's promoted to service technician. She worked at Tesla for about 4 years and in 2021 joined auto manufacturer Lucid Motors as a service technician, where she continues to work today. She earns about $78,000 a year. Okay, there you go. So 5 years after high school, she's making $78,000 a year. I guess she's still in Arizona. Pretty darn good. Not to mention she only had $18,000 she spent on her education. This sounds like a good return, right? Here come the storms again. Man, this week is nuts with the storms. While the average automotive technician earns about $57,000 a year, more experienced professionals can earn up towards $100,000, according to ZipRecruiter data, an income bracket she expects to hit by the time she turns 30. Well, she probably will get there. That's awesome. Working in a skilled trade has helped her hit financial milestones sooner than her peers, including buying her first car and home at 24 years old. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. High housing costs and mortgage rates continue to push homeownership, which has long been a cornerstone of the American dream, out of reach for young adults. It is a tough time for young people, but hang in there, young people. Interest rates are coming down, and you're going to be able to be all right in the end. But you got to keep pushing. You got to make some good money. You got to pursue careers and jobs that can make you good money, but rates are coming down. I saw an article, a study recently, that what was tougher for home buyers in the 80s when interest rates were way higher than they are now versus the average income versus now where interest rates are higher but still not like they were in the 80s, and it is tougher for people now because in terms of the average income versus the cost of the average house, it is tougher now. So even though interest rates were way higher back then, the difference between the average price of a house and average income was a lot less. But don't give up, young people. Working in a skilled trade has helped her hit financial... I read that part. I also read the other part. In a dream, she says she wouldn't have been able to achieve... It is a dream she wouldn't have been able to achieve had she attended college and pursued a white-collar profession instead. She said, I would probably be living in my parents' house and paying off student loans. She adds, instead, I'm able to financially support myself, my parents, and my younger sister when they need it. Great. She continues, this is a career that can provide you with the kind of job security and stability that lasts a lifetime. The peace of mind that comes with that is priceless. Well, she's working for Lucid Motors. I don't know the future on Lucid Motors, but she may end up going back to Tesla. Next one. This is about a guy who went down a different path of entrepreneurship. It says, running a business, bringing in $1 million in revenue in 2023. So some Gen Zers entrepreneurs are finding success in launching trade businesses. Chase Gallagher, 23 years old, is the founder and CEO of CMG Landscaping in a township in Pennsylvania. His business broke in $1 million in annual revenue last year. Revenue, not profits, revenue, guys. But still, 23 years old, you have a business bringing $1 million a year. Great. He started mowing his neighbor's lawns when he was 12 years old for $35 a pop. Within 4 years, that after-school side hustle was netting him more than $50,000 a year. The return on investment of a college degree seemed smaller and smaller as Gallagher approached high school graduation. He said, I would have had to pay a lot for my education and lose 4 years of revenue-producing years. I didn't see the benefit of spending money if I could be building up my business and wealth instead. He adds, one of the smartest decisions I ever made was not going to college and using that time to invest in my business instead. Guys, you never go wrong investing in yourself, but you got to be smart about what you invest in yourself. In 2018, Gallagher hired his first employees and rented a commercial space near his parents' house for $300 a month to store his tools and pick up trucks. There you go. He moved out of his parents' house when he was 19 years old, and after renting an apartment for a year, bought his first house with his earnings from CMG Landscaping. 19 years old. There you go. Guess what, guys? The American dream is there. You just got to know what to do, what to look for, and take a chance. This is awesome. Guess what? People need their yards freaking mowed. They need landscaping done. And guess what? Where it's hot out all the time, most people don't want to do it. I do some things on my property, but the rest I have my gardener do. And I'm more than happy to shell it out. And he and his crew are awesome. Now Gallagher's landscaping business has 9 employees and does everything from stormwater management and drainage work to pavers and lighting. After deducting business expenses and taxes, Gallagher's take-home pay is about $250,000 a year. That's pretty damn good. Young guy here, 23 years old. Construction is facing a hiring crunch for skilled workers in the U.S., including carpenters and landscapers, giving young, ambitious people entering the fields like Gallagher a chance to fast-track their career growth and earnings potential. You think he'd be making $250,000 at 23 years old elsewhere? I mean, maybe if he went down a different path in terms of entrepreneurship. Now, being an entrepreneur is not for everyone. Let me make that clear. Not everybody's a risk taker. Not everybody has what it takes. But those that do have what it takes, and you got a good skill, and you're willing to work your butt off and take some chances, the risk reward is a very good ratio. Also says, train businesses often have low startup costs. Gallagher points out, as you don't need any physical storefront and can rent equipment. His first purchases for landscaping business included a $2,400 lawnmower and a utility trailer that cost $700. He says, I don't believe I would have achieved that same kind of level of financial security I have now if I had decided to attend school when I was 18 instead. He notes that he has some friends who spent $200,000 in college education and are now earning less than $50,000 a year. I rest my case. He says, my head would have been spinning if that happened to me. Running a trade business isn't without its challenges. Gallagher works nearly 80 hours a week and sometimes closer to 100 during CMG Landscaping's peak busy season between March and July. Okay, that is crazy hours, but you have to be prepared to work those kind of crazy hours sometimes. Now, I think because he's young and has the energy, he can really bust his tail. And notice, the younger he is, busting his tail, that's more money he has to put away and invest, and that has decades to grow, so he could retire early if he wants to, or have no wants or needs when he wants to retire. Hopefully he doesn't get married and get taken to the cleaners, which happens to a lot of people. He'll be smart about that. But this is great. Now, eventually, I can see him scaling back some of his hours and hiring an additional employee. So instead of working 80 to 100, he's maybe working, 50 to 60. And that's understandable. It says, there's no such thing as work-life balance when you're scaling a trade business. But I've avoided burnout by hiring the right team and learning how to delegate responsibilities. See, not everybody has this ability and these skills, but this young guy does. Good for him. Here's another article. Here's another section. It says, saving $400,000 for retirement by 22. Ryan Daniels started working when he was 16. He expects to be semi-retired before he turns 30, an accomplishment he credits to a skilled trade he learned as a teenager. Well, young entrepreneurs find out that they probably don't want to, even though they could retire potentially at 30, which I think is, if you have the idea, if you have started a great business and you're super young and you want to retire at 30 or 40 or even 50 nowadays, you need to be very realistic about what your expenses are going to be for the rest of your fucking life. Because whatever inflation numbers the government's giving you is bullshit, So if you think, okay, as long as I make this, then based on an average of 2.6% inflation rate that the government says is going to be over the course of the next decades, no, don't buy it. Shit happens. Anyhow, he grew up in Wellington, Florida, a small city in a high-risk hurricane zone. After noticing how difficult it was for his parents and their friends to set up and clean their hurricane shutters, Daniel saw a business opportunity. He bought a used pressure washer on Facebook Marketplace for $200 and recruited one of his friends to drive around their neighborhood together, charging people $100 an hour to install or clean the debris off their hurricane shutters. Most people aren't going to want to do that, guys. And if you go to nice neighborhoods where people make high-income neighborhoods, they'll be like, here you go. No problem. I don't want to go out in the fucking heat. What started as a fun summer job has turned into RHI Pressure Washing, a full-fledged business in which Daniels is the founder and owner. In 2023, the company brought in about 250 grand in revenue, according to financial documents received by CNBC. Make it. Daniel's take-home pay was $79,000. With the help of his parents, Daniels opened a Roth IRA and 2 brokerage accounts in high school and split most of his earnings among the 3. He says, I had an eye on retirement since I was 17, he jokes. At this point in my career, Daniels has about 400 grand saved towards retirement. Now, the reason, even though he was making 79 grand a year, he was obviously living at home and probably had next to no expenses. So literally after taxes, everything went into investing. And he started young. And obviously he was putting his money in the right places. Obviously more higher risk growth type of funds, that type of thing. And it's paying off. But retire at 30, let's not get carried away, young friend. I would aim higher to more like 45. And even then, shit happens. He didn't intend to build a career in the skilled trades. He started class at the University of Florida, but left after his freshman year. He said, I never felt passionate about attending college. I just felt like I was going through the motions of what adults in my life expected of me. But once I got there, I figured out that I didn't want to spend 4 years doing something that I wasn't 100% committed to or believed in. A lot of young people go off to college because they don't know what to do. They do what their parents tell them to do. And and although the parents hopefully have their best interests at heart, the parents don't know either. There was a time that, yes, decades ago, you go to college and the investment of what you paid, even if you had a shitty degree, you could get something because an employer looked for somebody with a college degree. Not anymore. And what you're paying is through the roof. And it's all bullshit. And they fucking know it. The college industrial complex has been ripping people off for decades. And they know it. And now we can get into government subsidizing things and making things worse, but I'm not going to get into that particular subject here. And yes, these young people took on those things themselves. They're adults assigned the dotted line. They're responsible for what they racked up in charges. Don't get me wrong. But, you got to look at a bigger picture here. But so many people got so in their head that if I don't get a college degree and if I don't get a white-collar job, I'm a fucking loser. Bullshit. All the blue-collar guys out there are like, laughing at the people whining about their giant student loans who are looking down on them. How many of you guys have blue-collar jobs and you make darn good money and had people look down on you throughout your life? And probably still. But trust me, those people looking down on you, the odds are they're probably broke. So don't feel bad. And more people are going down this. You are having the last laugh, guys. I didn't finish college. I dropped out of college at 21. I started my first business at 21. I started making money immediately and did that for years. And then eventually went on to personal training and here on YouTube. And let me tell you, I love my life. I love what I do here on YouTube. I live in a house I love. I make a damn good income. I don't have to worry about shit. And believe me, if something happened, I got plenty to take care of me for a long time when I figure shit out. And I guarantee you, I have people that probably look down on me. I'm having the last laugh, and so are a lot of you guys. And you guys that are younger, that are figuring shit out, one day you'll have the last laugh too. And for you guys that went to school, got conned by the whole thing and have big expenses, well, it's not too late. You can find a way to go into something else that you could probably make a bunch of money in. But you may have to swallow some pride, admit that things didn't work out, and go on a different path. Have the courage to go out of your comfort zone and try a different path. Anyhow, let me finish this shit up. Says here, sure, Daniel says there are some corporate jobs where early retirement is possible, but he's quick to point out that blue-collar careers can offer more predictable hours, a less competitive atmosphere, and the satisfaction of working with your hands. He says, I prefer the physical exhaustion of manual labor over the mental toil of working long hours on a computer. I think more people are realizing you can be happy and successful in either path. Attending college and getting a job from there isn't the right choice for everyone. And that is it. It wraps it up. So that's great for these guys here. But notice the common thing with all these people. They're willing to go down a different path, to have the courage to do that. And I bet you probably some of them had their parents saying, maybe you don't want to do this. Maybe you want to go to school. But they did what they knew and felt in their heart and their gut was right. They're willing to, particularly the last two guys have their businesses, bust their ass. You heard the type of hours they're working, bust their ass, and it's paying off. Now, there are plenty of people out there that bust their asses and don't make a lot of money. And I would love for those people that bust their ass could also figure out where their passion is, where their skills are, and both with their hard work smart and take risks that they're comfortable with and do better for themselves. But I've learned a lot of things in my 46 years on this planet, guys, and one thing is certain, is that people are much more capable of what they think they can do. They can achieve a lot more if they're willing to just take a chance, a calculated risk, and go for it. Some of the best things in my life have all come from me going out of my comfort zone. YouTube is one of them. I mean, this is natural to me now. I've been doing this for 4.5 years, but there was a time and place where turning on that camera and starting to talk scared the fucking shit out of me. And going out there so the whole goddamn world can see me, and believe me, people have talked a lot of shit about me in other channels and all that. Yeah, in the beginning, back before I started this channel, I tried another one doing training, and that didn't work out, but I learned a lot. Yeah, it was nerve-wracking, but I went out of my comfort zone, and it's paid off handsomely. I went out of my comfort zone when I started martial arts at 35 years old, with all these youngins in there, and one of the best decisions of my life. So for a lot of you guys out there that have a dream, want something more for yourself, and a lot of people may not get it or support that, go out of your comfort zone. Take a chance. It's worth it. Look at these people hearing these stories. So point of this whole thing is young people are starting to choose different paths beyond the college, and that's great and you know what? About once a year, I cover an article about how the college enrollments are down. The colleges are shitting their pants because they're not bringing the type of money. Some colleges are closing up. And you know what? These motherfuckers brought this on themselves. These greedy as fuck institutions. And I'm usually not one to say things like that, but with regards to the college universities, that's exactly what's going on here. But anyhow, so young guys out there, you have options. Do some homework, do some digging, be willing to go down a different path, even though your parents may say you're nuts. But just be smart about it, do your homework, and don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone. These people did it, so can you. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.